What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It is Milton Spence with Miss Vestria Agee, the Fiscal Architect, the lady of the hour. My next guest here on the Well-Rounded Coach's Corner. I am excited to have her. She is a positive light, a positive beam. Look at the smile all the way from the beginning. And I'm pretty sure she'll be smiling all the way to the end, I hope. And I'm just going to let her introduce herself and just kind of let her tell you how to find her, her handles and everything like that. Just give it to us. Let us know what's up. Go ahead.
All right. So hi guys, my name is Vestria Agee, the Fiscal Architect. I know you're thinking Fiscal Architect, what does that mean? That means that I design practical roadmaps that teach millennial women how to budget, plan, and save their income in order to create long-term wealth and lifelong confidence in their money management skill sets. Over the past 14 years, I have paid off nearly $50,000 worth of debt before I turned 30. And now my goal is to teach other women and other people how to do the exact same thing. I believe that change starts with your mindset. First, we change our mind, shift our mindset, and then we can change our money. So that's me in a nutshell. Financial education is my game, and I'm just happy to be here.
So tell us about your IG handles and things of that nature.
IG handle, you can find me at Hey Vestria on Instagram. You can find me at Hey Vestria on Facebook. Just look me up, put in HeyVestria, and that is where you will find me. Go ahead and follow me. I'll be there. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, and I tell you the truth. I mean, I've tuned into a lot of the lives that you have, and I've listened in on a lot of things that you say, and I mean, you're giving a wealth of information. And the most impressive thing, obviously, to anybody who just heard it, was the $50,000 in debt that's paid off. I mean, you're talking about me over here. Whew. I'm hurting, all right? I mean, but the thing is, I mean, to actually be working towards that goal and to hear somebody who has not only accomplished that, but now it's trying to help other people not just accomplish that, but to stay aware of their financial freedoms and things of that nature. Wow. I mean, you have so many people out here who are trying to do those things, but somebody who as passionate as you, it speaks volumes. It really does. And it lets me know that being a fiscal architect, the fiscal architect, means that you're able to not only guide, but help build a person from the ground up, if you will.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump in and dive in and start with the question.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. No. So, I wanted to ask you the first thing. How is it that you came to creating the Fiscal Architect?
All right. So, financial independence has always been a goal of mine. It's always been a goal of mine. Growing up, we weren't what you would say wealthy or anything like that. We had enough to do whatever we needed. It was me and my mom. I grew up in a single parent household, so we had enough. And over time, my mom was really independent. I used to see her grind it out and do different things, and I attained that same independent spirit. So it was important for me to have my own money. Combine that with the fact that my mom, as she learned, as she bought her first home, as she learned different things about savings and money management principles, she passed those things down to me. So when I went to college, unlike a lot of our peers, a lot of our millennial peers, I knew how much it was going to cost to go. I knew how much the school was going to cost. I knew how much everything was going to cost before I even enrolled. Coming out of school, my goal was to get a good job. Because what do they tell us? Go to school, get a good job, buy a house, get married, all this different stuff, right? So my goal was to finish school, get a good job, so I could pay off my student loans. And that's what I did. I was working down in South Georgia, trying to get on the grind. I couldn't find another job. I ended up taking an internship that was going to take me overseas. When you're enrolled in school, then you can either defer your student loans or put them in forbearance. I was in a full-time job. My job was making maybe $20K a year. and I couldn't afford to pay my student loans back. So I joined this internship and I was going to go overseas. Around 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave to go overseas, I got called for a job. The job was like $40K, moved me to Virginia, salary job, stability. And it was like, do I want to travel the world, which is something I love to do, or do I want to, take this stable job? I took the job. My goal, like I said, was to pay off my student loans. So that was my goal. I went hard in the paint with going after it, and I was able to accomplish it. But you pair that also with the fact that I was an accounting major in college. And again, just having that hunger on the inside of me for financial independence, I wanted to help people with their finances, but I wasn't interested in being a CPA. I would have had to go back to school for that. Wasn't ready for that. It just wasn't my lane. I just wanted to help people learn general information about financial education. When I was in South Georgia, I was scared to do that. The only places that there were to do that were, I can't think of the name right now, but a lot of the financial advisor companies and things of that nature. And basically you had to get hired on with them, get trained through them, and then pretty much beat the street. They would give you a neighborhood that you go into. You beat the street and build your clientele like the old school way. And I just never found it in my heart to do that. But flash forward to last year, I was building a business in a different arena, and I knew I still had that hunger to combine money management in there. And I was working with a coach, talking about Coach's Corner. I was working with a coach, and she was like, well, tell me some more about what you know about money. So I started telling her about it. I started telling about the work I've done professionally. I started telling her about my background educationally and the 50K piece. And she was like, girl, if you don't go with your skill set, what are you scared of? You already have the credentials. You've already done it. It's people out there in the world that want to know what you're doing, how you did that. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I'm kind of scared. And she just really pushed me and motivated me. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I can take the reins on this. I do have something of value. I do know what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to budgeting, planning, and saving. And I do know people who want to know that information, who need to know that information. And out of that birth, the Fiscal Architect. Long story, but well-rounded.
Plug.
Plug.
Yeah, I like that. So, I mean, just hearing that story, I mean, it inspired me in this little bit of slither of time that we're speaking. It inspired me because of the fact I heard a couple of different things. One thing that I heard was, well, I had no idea about the idea that I was about to get. But then when it came, it was like, yeah, you know what? I should do that. Then came the fear, which is natural. Everybody gets that. Everybody gets that. And I want to touch on that a little bit.
Okay.
So when it comes to fear of doing exactly what you know you're supposed to be doing, right? You have that fear and it's like, oh man, this could be good. Why is it that everybody that I have ever coached up until this point gets to that point, that one point is like, wait, this could be good. And they turn away, or they do what you've done and now they've gone forward. I mean, mostly it's because of the fact they have somebody like myself behind them, like, come on, nudge, nudge, nudge. Yeah. What is it? Let's just say, let's revert back. I know you can't do this, but we're going to try to be hypothetical. What happens if you didn't have a coach and you still got to the point of knowing this is what I'm supposed to do, but then the fear is like, well, wait a minute, this could be good, Vestria.
You know what? Mm-hmm. For me personally, I can't say that for everybody else, but for me personally, had it not been for that coach, I mean, I have an amazing group of folks around me. My husband is amazing. My circle is amazing. And they support pretty much everything. Like, this is not my first business. But they support everything. We support each other wholeheartedly. So I told you I was getting coaching for a different business. Had it not been for that fear, had it not been for that particular coach telling me, I would have been going in a different direction. But I think because I do believe that money management is tied to my purpose. I'm not 100% clear on if that is the purpose yet, but I feel very strongly about it, and I'm continually led to it. So I think that I would have ended up here still anyway. even with that being afraid of it, I still would have ended up coming back to this point. I just think it's that rooted on the inside of me that it still would have came back around. It would have been a bumpy road to get here.
Thank you. All right.
Definitely, I think it would have came back around.
And that's what I was going to touch on, because as you were talking about getting back around, you use that motion there, getting back around. I've always noticed that the shortest term or the shortest way to success sometimes is like this.
It's a straight line.
Instead of that. And most of the time we all do that. We go around it and go around it. And then finally like, okay, I'll take these little steps. Then we start taking the little steps like, whoa, this is not too bad. But here's the thing. What do you do in a market now where everybody seems to want to be an entrepreneur, right? That's right. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's using it as something popular to do. It's a fad. It's one of those things that are coming. What do you do in the market in order to not just set yourself apart, but put yourself in a position to now be the fiscal architect? Because as you know, there are the people who say, hey man, I can help you raise your credit score. I can help you pay off that debt in 30 days. I can show you how to do it. Come check this course out. Come check this sales class out. How do you stand out in that market? What are you doing in order to make yourself stand out?
So that's a great question. I used to fit, part of what took me so long to get to this place is believing that there's not enough market share for me out there, so I shouldn't pursue it, right? What sets me apart is just like this journey, this entrepreneurship journey. Again, this is not my first walk in business, but this entire journey, all these years of different businesses and trial and error, figuring out my purpose. There's been lessons learned all along the way, right? And somebody made a post one time, and she was walking down the street, and I think there was like 3 coffee shops right next to each other. Mm-hmm. Coffee shops, just right, what do you get at a coffee shop? You get coffee, maybe some sweet bagels, something like that. But they were all next to each other in the middle of a major metropolitan city. Mm-hmm. And all of them are booming in business. They're right in the middle of downtown. So for me, that just confirmed to me that regardless of what it is that you're trying to do, as long as you're being yourself and you're being authentic and you're providing somebody with a quality service, you're using integrity and morals and ethics, there's room for your gift. Mm-hmm. There's room for you in your gift. God will provide the room and the space and the platform for you in your gift. There may be lessons that you have to learn. There may be bumps that you have to go over. There may be areas where, like, just because I'm strong in money management doesn't mean I'm strong in marketing or advertising or all these different things. So in the same way that God makes room for your gifts, He'll also connect you with who you need to be connected to as it pertains to customers, clientele, a dream team of people who are strong where you are weak, in order to provide and serve and put you in place to prosper in your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you honestly have that belief. The same one I have is, I had kind of that same thing come to me like, oh man, there's so many people out here. As soon as I said I'm going to be a coach, I saw so many advertisements for coach this. I'm like, God almighty, everybody's a coach, man. Then I thought about it. So you know what? Okay, sure, I'm a coach, and that's a title. But I've been doing this forever. Forever. Like, I've been doing this without even thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started to realize something. I said, this is an avenue. It's not the end. This is This is an avenue. This is something like, this is something that is being used in order to set up something else. Right. And as you stated, you don't know if this is the purpose or the end purpose for you, but it ties into like the big thing, if you will, the
Absolutely.
Purpose.
Absolutely.
My thing is with money management is this: your market, just like mine, is one of those that people do not want to come to you because it's embarrassing. It's a shy thing. Well, I gotta unveil the fact that I'm broke, or I gotta unveil the fact that I have money. I don't really know what I'm doing with it. You have to unveil.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that you would say to your person who's listening, who is embarrassed or shy, to come to Miss Vestria and say, excuse me, Miss Fiscal Architect, if you would please help me, help me. What would you say to them? How would you get them to come to you?
It's not even how would I get them to come to me. It's just, I pray that I will be able to build the like, know, and trust from sharing my own experiences. I'm no guru. So this is the thing. My journey was not by rocket science. I didn't win the lottery. I say this a lot. I didn't win the lottery. It was nothing crazy. It was a skill set that I started picking up at home that I just continued to practice and practice and practice and practice and practice unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
Some people grew up, they picked up a basketball and they're talented. They can go to the hoop. I'm tall, but I can't play ball. I didn't pick up that skill. My mama played ball, my daddy played ball. I didn't pick up that skill. But for the people that did, you don't even think about it. You just do.
Right.
The same thing with me with money management. It was just something I just did. And after you do something for so long, you practice something for so long, you just become good at that skill. But there's also mistakes that I made.
Mm.
There's also mistakes that I'm still coming out of as it pertains to money management. There's also areas that I don't know. We all got to start somewhere. But first we got to change our mindset. If your mindset has started to shift where you I'm ready to do something different and you don't know how to do it, the only way for you to get help is to ask somebody who does know how to do it. Can you help me? That's the only way. You gotta humble yourself and ask for help, because it's not gonna come by the help that you need is not gonna come by osmosis. It's not gonna come by wishing and crossing your fingers and all of that. You just gotta ask the question. And I'm not whatever hoity-toity, whatever. I'm here to help you. I want you to learn. I don't just want to do it for you. I want you to learn. I want you to acquire that skill set too and continue to practice it so that you can learn and you can share that with other people and you can change your legacy and you can build that out and grow something. So what I would say to somebody else is just come, hit me up and slide my DM, let me know, what up? Need help? What you need help with? And I'll tell you if it falls in my lane or if it doesn't fall in my lane. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. And if I can't help you, I'm going to do whatever I can to direct you to a source that can help. Mm-hmm. But just, you got to start somewhere and ask for help. And it's okay. It's okay. I promise it's okay.
Okay. What were the other businesses that you had? You said it's not my first rodeo. So tell me about your rodeo.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's go. So before this, mm-hmm. I was a travel agent. I'm still actually a travel agent. I don't promote that as much, but I am a travel agent. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was a Mary Kay consultant. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was a Mary Kay consultant twice, matter of fact, actually. Twice. Okay. Because I didn't catch it the first time. I thought it was it, and it wasn't it still after the second time. But,
okay.
I've done a couple other MLMs. All the way back to 14, 15, selling CDs. I would stay up late and download music, and then I would make a label with a theme and then put your name on there and sell them,
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah,
had a little frozen cup situation at the house,
Yeah.
And of course, other jobs. I've worked at the credit union, I've worked at the bank, I've worked at Taco Bell. I've done several things. This is not my first rodeo. Mm-hmm. But I think this is the right rodeo, especially now focusing on one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you consider yourself a dreamer. I consider myself a dreamer. The world, I see the world it's just huge and all this stuff is out there for us to go out and get and pursue and benefit from. Mm-hmm. But in order to be successful, you got to focus on one thing at a time. It's hard. But one thing at a time. I'm good at a lot of stuff. We all have our different talents and strengths, but when you talk about going into business, I think it's important that you focus on one thing at a time in order to see that come to success and see that grow into fruition, and then all the other, whatever else God has for you will grow out of that.
Yeah, you asked me was I a dreamer. Actually, on my Instagram, one of my bio, the last one says dreamer. I am.
Oh, cool.
I am a dreamer. I am not just a dreamer. I'm one of those guys where if I know for a fact if I can take it or if I can dream it, I can do it.
Gotcha.
If it's there, I can do it. I am.
Gotcha.
I consider myself a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
I am obsessed with well-rounded consulting. That is my obsession. So that's that one thing you're talking about, right?
Gotcha.
I'm totally into it. That is what I do. I live, sleep, eat, breathe, all of it. I love it. I love it. Even the name came to me one day. It just came to me. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the one, right? And I've recently expanded my business, but that's neither here nor there. But I am a dreamer, and the reason is because of the fact. Do you hear that? Give me 1 second. Make sure this thing. Okay. So the reason I'm a dreamer is because of the fact I've been one of those people pretty much all of my life where I was afraid. Is the connection messing up on your end? Oh, it's my end. Sorry. So I was afraid of what's the word? If you want to say stepping out on faith. Give me a second here. All right. So we're back. We're back. Had a little technical difficulty. Had to check on some things and make sure we were good. But back to what I was saying. I am a dreamer. I am a avid dreamer. I love to dream. That's because for a long time in my life, I was told, oh man, it's not that deep. You shouldn't think so much. You overthink, right? And I was one of those guys where if I looked at anything, I break it down to the most simplest detail. Naturally analytical. I look at everything. I see stuff. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not thinking about it too deep. I mean, if you really look at this and break it down, like this is what can happen from this. And it's always been like, well, no, be quiet. Until one day I got to college, and I remember Dr. DeQueer, the music teacher. I was in his class, and he said something about music, and it was talking about like it's a free form of expression, and you should never ever hold back any part of yourself in order to make sure that you get. I mean, he was a deep guy, so he said that to me, and I was like, dang, like it's just like light bulb. Like I've been holding back all this time. So the amount of time that it took me, put it like this, I was like you in a sense. So it took me so long to get to this point where I am free in my expression and free in being who I am and all of those things. Because for so long I was always hearing in my head, you're overdoing it, you're overthinking, you're looking too deep, you shouldn't do that. Why are you dreaming about that? Come on, just stick to the normal stuff, play football, go to school, do your thing, and you'll be fine. Oh man, it's cool to think outside the box. So I would stay within that box that to be comfortable and go.
Yeah.
Either way. So
but there's freedom in being uncomfortable, especially when you have faith.
Right. And that's what I was saying when we went all pixelated and everything. I was saying that I had to, step out on faith. That's exactly what it was. Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be here today, just to be totally honest. I wouldn't have this, because I would never do this. This right here, what we're doing, I never do this.
Yeah, me either. You're right. Like, what?
Yeah. No, I'm good. No, we can talk on the phone.
I'll just be in the back. Thanks.
Exactly. So you have now come to this point. You've had business ventures. Now you're taking the right steps. You're where you want to be and where you want to go. And I have to say that I'm very proud of you. Number one, I'm pretty sure you've heard that from other people, but I want to make sure that I say that before I continue and let you know that I'm happy to hear that. Right?
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
And you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Now, you have an interesting story so far, but now I want to jump into the fact that you have a family as well. You have a family, and you are now an entrepreneur with a family. Mm-hmm. I made a post the other day, and I keep it short and sweet. I said, there's 24 hours in a day, but in order to really make this thing boom, you got to realize, man, sometimes sleep is not going to be your friend, even with kids. So, especially with children. And I drew that analogy and I said, with your children, you will stay up with your child till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning if you have to make sure they're okay. Why would you not put that same into your baby, aka business? So talk to me a little bit about not just sacrifice, but talk to me about how this all fits into the family, and how do you find the time? Because most of the time, your videos are late night. Yeah.
I wonder why they are late.
But give us the real, man. Give us the skinny, because you'll be surprised. Some business people, they don't post after 5 now. Them sleep. Talk to us.
So you asked me, how does this fit into my family life? And what was your other question, sir?
And how do you find the time, or where do you get that drive to do your posting and all of that, and be talking about your business and trying to help people so late at night and people sleep? People are like, I ain't got time for that junk, man. How do you do it?
So
where's your drive come from?
One of the biggest differences between building this business from scratch and building a business for somebody else, or working 9 to 5 for somebody else, and it was a lesson that I had to learn, is that I get to make this business whatever I want it to be. And sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't have to follow anybody else's blueprint. Architect plug, okay. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't have to follow somebody else's blueprint. You talked about there being a lot of other financial educators and financial resources out there. I don't have to do what anybody else is doing, because I'm not underneath anybody else's umbrella. I can make this business exactly what I want it to be. And if it gets to a point where it's not enjoyable, there may be days, like long hours of sacrifice, where I have to choose this over that. I have to choose my business over sleep or what have you. But if it gets to a point where it's not enjoyable, like I feel like I'm dragging myself to do this, then I don't need to be doing it. So that's one of the things that's freeing about what I'm doing right now with financial education. So that in and of itself, and continually reminding myself of that this is my business. I can make it or break it and do whatever I want to. That in and of itself is motivation. I don't have to follow anybody else's blueprint. I don't have to do what anybody else says. I'm doing me. And Vestria, if I'm going to provide a service, or if I'm going to provide a product, I want it to be the best of the best of the best, because it comes back on me. That's my name. You know, not only is that my name, that's my family's name that falls on, you know? So it increases the amount of responsibility I feel to make sure that whatever I'm delivering is quality, and I'm giving you everything that it took for me to get to where I am, because I want you to do better than me. I want you to know better than me. It's not, unless you're younger than me, you won't know earlier than I did, but I want you to take what I've learned and go further than me. You know what I mean? So when we talk about making the sacrifices in my family, mind you, we are a double entrepreneur household. It's not just me. So there's trade-off. We both work 9 to 5s, but we have to make trade-offs with our time and our energy, especially with our daughter, with, you know, who's going to be working on your business, or who's got their ear out for the baby monitor, or, you know, who's sleeping. We definitely have to make trade-offs of our time and our energy, and we also have to communicate a lot about what's going on and what our goals are and what our visions are for our business. So when I say I got a client at 6:30, can you make sure, you know, our daughter is straight, or can you handle dinner or bath time while I take care of this client, or vice versa? We have to communicate. We have to be open. We have to be on the same page about our vision and our goals in order for it to work. Now, where the time comes from, God. Because I'm telling you, sleep, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. You know, sometimes I spend Sometimes I'm really productive and sometimes I'm not. But, you know, sometimes baby girl is crying, she's sick. Not only did I take off from work, this is not a free day. I'm in mommy mode right now. So I don't get to just work on my business and book calls and, you know, make all this glorious content today. I'm like, she's sick. I'm focused on that. So you make trade-offs, but because I'm doing what I want to do, I'm building this business the way I want to build it, it's worth it. Mm-hmm. You make the times, the pocket of time comes up and you do with it what you can.
That's amazing. Because you touched on a lot of different things. And like I said, as you talk, I'm breaking it all the way down to the, can't help it. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't apologize for your gifts and your talents.
That's true. The thing that I heard the most that stood out to me personally was, as husband and wife, you make trade-offs in order to make sure that not only individually you're successful, that the family is successful in what they're doing, and you work as a team, as a unit in order to get things done. And what that speaks against so heavily in society is societal roles. It speaks against that's your job, like as a woman or man. I hate that with a passion, because as I do relationship coaching and counseling, I'm like, the job of the family is whatever the family needs in order to be cohesive. It's not he has to do this and she has to. No, it doesn't matter. Everybody has hands and feet. You know, we all can operate. We need to do this together in order to make sure we're going.
Absolutely.
And
I'm thankful and grateful. I am so thankful and grateful for my husband and for the life that we live and for what we have as a familial unit, because we don't have the traditional gender roles or who does what. You know, just as much as I'm going to change a diaper or roll around on the floor or whatever, he's going to do the same thing. Just as much as I'm at the daycare or at the doctor's office, if it's something going on with her, he's taking off doing the same thing. Like there's none of that. The only thing he couldn't do was nurse.
Exactly.
He had that bottle ready, okay?
I'm all right, boy. What?
So,
I got a hole in a couple of my shirts because I couldn't nurse.
Listen, I've seen some contraptions, but we didn't go there. But my husband is amazing. He's an amazing father. He's an amazing husband. And because we don't have those roles, communication is probably the most challenging thing to keep up with. But when we do communicate well, then it helps our family and our respective businesses flow well.
And you know what's so important too is the fact that when you communicate, it's important that you comprehend. Like I've learned so heavily that non-communication, verbal, is also a form of communication. So you got to make sure that you're in tune with your mate in order to understand exactly what they're saying, so you know how to operate. You know what I mean? Because I have been in that position. Obviously, I'm the sole entrepreneur in the household. My wife wants to jump into her. She's at that point now where she's like, but what do I do? And I'm like, baby, let's go. Come on. I was like, look, the hard part is over. Your husband already went through it. So I'm here to help you to take on the battles and all the paperwork and all that good stuff. I said, that's the easy part once it all gets done. I said, trust me. I said, the hard part comes when now, I got my business. Great. So it's just like you got a baby. It first came out, everybody's happy. Now you got a nurse and you got
to work.
Gotta work.
The sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's shiny when you first get it. It's like, oh, this is great.
Leaning on God.
Yeah, that's 100% of what we have to do. But the fact is, to hear two people working together, not just that, but also being open with me and saying, when we do communicate, meaning there are some times where there's a lapse there, there's a little gray area there, and that's okay, because that means you're human and you're not a robot or a machine, and that means that you're speaking to the person out there who looks at business owners not as perfect people, but who know how to run a perfect business or know what they're doing.
Perfect business, a efficient business.
There you go.
Effective business.
Right. That's the best word.
There's no such thing as a perfect business either.
Yeah. Now, you being a mama and everything like that, which is one of the most important roles of this world, what is it that you're going to do at an early age for your daughter in order to make sure that she not only has the blueprint, plug number 2, she has the blueprint, but she also has the mindset, because you mentioned that earlier. She has the mindset that, say if she does, you never know when it comes to college, you never know. But let's just say if she does go off to school, if she decides, that's what she wants to do. She goes out to school and let's say she pursues further degrees and there's no scholarship later on in life. She got to take on this debt. How do you help her stay in the mindset that, sure, sweetheart, you may get a refund if you decide to get it. Right, I know. Just hear me out. Come on now, stay with me. Just stay with me. I know. Just stay with me. All right, don't jump on me. So let's just say she decides to take it, because you're a mama. That's true. Mm-hmm. But when she's alone, she's grown. She does what she wants. But right. She decides to take said loan. Right, or that's what all the refund is nothing but a loan. You're gonna pay it back. She decides to take this loan. And is now in a position where you maybe didn't want her to be, right? Because that's gonna be rough. Come on, your mama, I'm the fiscal architect. How are you gonna help her balance, right? Getting to a point of financial freedom, but also understanding that she could make a choice to not be so free, but this is the pathway in order to get to said freedom. How are you going to help her make sure that she's balanced?
So, as a parent, and it's scary, it's one of the scariest things about parenting, but it's also one of the biggest responsibilities that we have, is to be a role model for our children and to lead and guide them for the time that we have influence over them. Mm. And I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be 13. I don't know if it's going to be 15, 17, 32, Mm-hmm. But at some point, you do want them to have their own mind, their own opinions, make their own choices and decisions, and understand that they have to stand by the consequences or the second and third order effects of whatever decisions they make, right? Mm-hmm. So for the time that I have, or that we have that influence over her, mm-hmm. the same principles that I'm teaching my audience are the same principles that I'll be teaching her. Just she'll get hers like I got mine from home, mm-hmm. not from out in the world, mm-hmm. initially. There have been things that I've seen and experienced with other people that I didn't even know was a thing that I want to have as a normal for her. Mm. One of those things is being a real estate owner before she goes to school. To have property that belongs to her that she can live in, lease out, live in one side, lease the other side, however, but she will have an investment property to be able to generate income off of. Whether she decides to go to school or decides to go to the military or decides to be an entrepreneur or whatever she decides to do, she will have a foundation that's set up for her financially to win, mm-hmm. right? And what she does with that is my responsibility to lead her and guide her and then let her go. If she decides she wants to go get a loan, so be it. If she decides that she messed up and she needs to come back home and revamp, repunctate, relocate, whatever she needs to do, mm-hmm. okay, let's set a plan. Mm-hmm. Whatever that is, you can always come back home, but let's plan before you leave. And if you go out there and you leave and you do something, you make a mistake, you misstep, it's okay. come back home, let's reset the plan, and then let's send you back on. Go on. Love you, but you can't stay. Come back and visit. You can't stay. But my goal is to equip her for us to equip her as much as possible to be financially savvy and well-rounded before she leaves home. What she does with that is her choice. We'll be here to support her, but we won't be here to, all right, you can move back in, it'll be great. No, but she'll have the tools. She'll have the tools, she'll have the information, and she'll have the resources to be financially savvy when she leaves. That's my goal.
Nice. So tell us a little bit more about that investment property idea.
Oh, listen. So, okay. Budgeting, saving, and planning is my forte, right? I am still learning about investments. But I've met a few people over the years where their parents, when they went to school, their parents purchased a property in the area where they went to school at. And then they leased out their rooms to friends, family, whoever. And they really didn't even pay rent. Let's say you have a home, your mortgage is $1,000, and then you charge $500 for 2 roommates. That's $1,000. They're paying for the mortgage, and you're just managing the expenses of the house. To me, that is so dope. Why didn't we know about this stuff?
Right.
Our parents didn't know what they didn't know, but something like that would be ideal to have for her and for our kids that come on, and for anybody else that has children, to set them up to win. Man, these student loans, I get you. I don't think there's anything wrong with debt or anything wrong with, or there's positive debt and there's negative debt. I don't think there's anything wrong with borrowing, but I think that you need to be educated when you do borrow. Everybody's not going to be in position or have a desire or have the education to go out and buy an investment property or to go to school without having a student loan, and that's okay. But understanding what happens next, having a plan, I think that's the part that is the most important. Now that you have this debt, now that you've borrowed, now that you've purchased this property, even if you have the investment property, you still got to have a plan to pay off that mortgage and sustain it. So,
or either flip it.
Yeah, flip it. But so many things I'm learning.
Now, one thing I've always that I know I'm going to do myself, as far as I listened to you. I don't know if you even remember, you said it one night, but you talked about. That's right.
You talked about nonverbal communication. I'm like, you ever heard the saying, "A hit dog will holler"?
Sure. You just hollered. All right. Now, the reason I was saying that is because one night you said, it was about LLCs, and you were talking about opening up an LLC for your child. And I think it was doing it the same around, you didn't say anything about investment, so this is the first time I heard that, but you were talking about opening up and basically putting not the business, but starting a business for your kid, and then opening, like buying I can't remember exactly what you said. I know you talked about opening up a business for your child, like having an LLC for your kid, as far as for financial stability. I guess I can't remember how it went, but I know it was something around that lane. I can't remember what you said, actually. Give me 1 second. Let me go back on my mental Rolodex.
All right.
I can't remember the exact verbatim, but I know it was around that, as far as having an LLC for your kid, not as a young kid, but like say when they go off to college, because I know you can't have it, but so young, I think it's 18, and somebody could actually have an LLC. I can't remember. So I'm just stay off of that. Give me a break. All right. Give myself a break on that one, because I'm like, man, as I started to go down that, I don't remember. All right. So put it like this. I researched this. And I researched as far as opening up LLC, because I always have this plan. My 2 kids are going to have their own LLC, and I'm going to do the same thing, except for the investment properties that they're going to have, going to be under their business. That way they can show, good standing as far as money going in, them paying out, and then if they want to do something with that business, as far as get a business credit line or anything of that nature, they can get it. Just so many things in order to set them up with something, so they're beating their dad to the punch as far as when the dad first started his business.
Right.
You got me? Even if they decide to later on sell said business or whatever, it will have value. Okay? So, what happened?
Just making sure got my ear to the street.
got the mama ear on.
My kids got my ear to the street.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think that in the past 5-10 years, we as minorities have joined the conversation enough to know so many different ways now to set our children up to win before they leave our house. So albeit getting an investment property under the moniker of an LLC or under the child's name to build personal credit, or everything in between and all around that, go for it. Like we have to change the narrative as it pertains to money in our communities. We have to. It's so important. We have to be empowered. We have to be educated and understand what options we have. What we do with that is our choice. But we have to start having these conversations and make these conversations a norm, because we can't keep going on being like, well, I didn't know. Well, you can't say I don't know and then say you want to change at the same time. Like, you can't be, you can say I didn't know. You can't be content with I didn't know. And say you want all this for your future. You can't say both of those at the same side of your lips. You got to pick one. Do you want to stay in the room of I didn't know? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything. I'm not really sure about that. Man. But what do you want? What's your goal, though? Do you want to live wealthy? Do you want to, a lot of people talk about leaving their job. Do you love your job, or just do you just need another source of income? Are your expenses higher than the income that you bring in? Like what's going on with your financial situation?
Right.
And are you able to change it with what you're doing now? If you're not able to change it with what you're doing now, then you have to get educated on doing something else to change your circumstances. Like it can't change without knowing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to know, then you won't change.
Yeah, of course. Oh, you know what? I remember. It was somebody asked the question.
Okay.
It wasn't, you didn't say it. Somebody asked. It was in the live and I saw them, they said it. And they that same look as if like, I don't, you know what I mean? And I went and researched it and was like, oh, okay.
Okay, because I'm like.
That's what it was. I just remember. It was like,
I'm like.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, but it was. Yeah. Somebody, I can't remember. It was a young lady on your live. She asked that question. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I went and researched how to do it. I was like, heck yeah. This is now the plan. This is what we're doing.
Yes. And even more recently, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the woman, I can't remember her name, but she said that they send their children to school. Wherever school they want to go to, they take care of their education. Her and her husband, they're taking care of their education. So they send them to school, and after their first year, they purchase a property in the state that the school is in. Because some states have parameters, rules and regulations where you have to be a resident of the state.
Yes.
So they purchase a property in that state as the investment property for the child. And then that property gives them residency, which allows them to pay in-state tuition versus out-of-state tuition.
Wow.
Therefore lowering that bill. Yeah. And then also generating income and establishing credit by having renters.
Wow.
In that house with them.
I mean, you're talking about, that was a nugget right there if it wasn't one. Okay, I think that was better than the Popeye chicken sandwich. That's all right.
And that was a minority speaking on that. So people are doing some things now.
And making moves. Yeah.
Making moves is so much information out there. It's just like hone it all in and bring it all together. And that's my goal. My goal is to create the #1 financial education resource center for millennial women. Wow. That is my ultimate vision for what I'm birthing right now. This is just the beginning. That's where I'm going. It's necessary. As millennials, I feel like we got the short end of the stick, because unlike the generations that came before us, they didn't come out with the same type of debt that we did. They didn't come out with the same type of expectations that are false expectations that we did. And we're still playing catch up, you know? So we got to get our money right.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. We do have to get our money right. Tell me about this boss conference, please. Yeah. I want to.
Listen, you mentioned that your wife was interested in getting into entrepreneurship.
Yes. That would have been the conference for her to go to.
The conference next year, August 2020. They haven't released a location, but the Boss Conference was amazing. So let's talk about it. The Boss Conference was hosted by Mrs. Courtney Adeleye. She is the founder and owner of The Main Choice, which is based here in Huntsville or Madison, Alabama. We're not going to talk about that. So she has her product line, The Main Choice, which is, the products are amazing. It's glorious. Out of that, she birthed the Boss Conference. The Boss Conference is a entrepreneurship-centered conference for women. This weekend, we spent 4 days in South Beach at an amazing hotel. There were speakers. There was a panel. There were performers, musical performers. The speakers ranged from the hair care industry to funding for entrepreneurs to build their business. We talked about strategic marketing. There was a pitch competition for somebody to join her team and represent her brand. I mean, and then there was the turn up. The turn up was, if you go to the Boss Conference on Instagram and look at the videos and the pictures, it was amazing. It was nearly 600 women coming together to talk about business and entrepreneurship, whether you have a business or whether you were thinking about starting a business or everything in between. All of these women were there just to learn, and it was just positive energy and amazingness and glory. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And what is give me 2 things, the major things that you got out of it.
#1, for me, you're already in the room. You already have everything you need to do what you're wanting to do, to accomplish the goals that you're trying to accomplish. It's already on the inside of you. God has already given you the vision. You just need to execute. Start where you are, go forth with what you have, and everything's going to be great. That's probably 3 or 4 or 5 nuggets. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a huge one. That was the biggest one. That was the main one. You are already in the room. You already have everything that you need to get what you want. Just go.
Okay.
Go. And #2 is that you never know who you're connected to. Oh my goodness. It's a small world when you just open up your mouth and speak. There were women to my right and to my left that have, $1 million companies, $100,000 income coming into their companies, have owned multiple businesses over the years, successful business. Some have failed. There were women, there was a woman there who was blind. Listen, open up your mouth and speak to the people that are next to you, because you never know what nuggets that they have to give.
Yep.
They're already in the room. Conference was amazing.
Now, did you walk away with any type of relationships from that?
Absolutely. They actually had a group that was on Facebook before we went to the conference. So we were able to interact and connect beforehand, and then over the course of the conference, we'd share pictures and things like that. And even since then, the group is still lit. The group is on fire. And then all the people that you meet as you go to the different dinners and the gala that we had a Harlem Renaissance Gala, a turquoise brunch, all white yacht party. And we've all just stayed connected via social media, Instagram, Facebook, the group, outside of the group, exchanging phone numbers. The conference had, you had a roommate. My roommate was a friend of 14, 15 years. We also met at Albany State University, the unthinkable Albany State University. But that was my roommate. But a lot of people had roommates that they didn't know they met for the first time when they got there. So the connections that were made were amazing. It was an amazing conference.
That's awesome, man. I tell you what, I mean, hearing that, just knowing, number one, that you guys were in the awesome state of Florida, where I currently reside, and we're trying not to get swept away from a storm. But to hear that you guys were not only down here, embracing your bossism, being a boss and being a female boss at that, and understanding that a boss is a glorified term, if you will, for a leader. That's what it's supposed to be. And understanding that you're going to grow your business and do things and be connected to other women. Because the one thing I've always seen is, and I'm not one to pander for women, I've never been that guy. But one thing I can see wholeheartedly is that women definitely need each other, just like men and women need each other as far as to speak of societally, right? I believe that women need to have men's backs as well as men need to have women's backs. The thing is, for so long, men have been trying to get ahead because we feel like we have to, right? In order to basically take care of the household, we feel like we need to make the most money. That's a pride thing. Now to see so many women wanting to not only be entrepreneurs, but be effective entrepreneurs is very inspiring, because it's just like the lady who's blind. I mean, you had to have people who probably doubt her or still doubt her. And women are naturally doubted, just to be totally honest, naturally doubted in the form of business. They can't, operate in the room with the big boys, which is a lie. It's a lie. It's all about what's in your head. You said that earlier. It's all a mindset. And your heart. And the fact is, I've had the opportunity, a blessing, if you will, to be able to do business with women. And just as well as I can be impressed by a male, I've been as impressed with a lady as far as how they not only handle the business, but handle themselves and what their mindset is. Not, oh, you're a woman, so you're going to be, no, I don't do that. Hey, can we handle this business? That's all I want to know. Can we handle this? And if we can, let's move forward. Now, as a coach myself, and as somebody who is always looking to inspire the next person, always looking to help the next person reach a goal or their purpose, I would say to you this, okay? The biggest thing that, not that I want for you, but that I see in you is the fact that you not only have the personality, okay? You not only have the mindset, but you have something in you that has yet to be fully, it hasn't come to fruition fully, if that makes any sense. It's almost like I can kind of sense like a birthing type of effect happening here. And what I would say is, if it matters to you, what I would say, I always kind of offer somebody something on my coach's corner, because, hey, I'm a coach's corner. I'm allowing you to coach in a sense, right? So you coaching, and then I say, let me throw a little something out there myself.
Okay.
So if I'm going to say anything to you, I'm going to say, Vestria, do your best, and not only being your best, but do your best at being the person that deep down that you can be, and having the business deep down that you can, because you're going to reach a point where it's not going to seem attainable. Just like you reached a point of fear, and now you're past that point, and now you go to a boss conference, and now you got connections, and now it's going to come to a point where it's not going to seem attainable, because, hey, nothing ever worth having is easy.
Mhm.
Not a marriage that's worth having is going to be easy. It can be peaceful, but it doesn't make it easy. I lift weights all the time. I love it. It ain't easy, but man, the benefits are great. Overall strength. And I believe wholeheartedly that you have something within you that is waiting on itself to not only be birthed, but to come ahead and come to full fruition. And I would say in your private time, do some real self-introspection, find out who that is, what that is, and then bring that forward. Just from my little conversation here, that's what I can see. Just from, right? Just the experience of it. It's just looking at it and listening. That's what I see. It's just, you have something great here. Okay? Something awesome here. And I know you have a vision for it, but I believe there's something deeper within you that needs to now come to the surface in order to really say, okay, sometimes we look at our business as if we have to push it forward. But that very thing that's within us is what's going to be pulling it forward if we only would pull that here. Because if we keep it here, it's not meant to go like push you, it's meant to pull. So if we don't bring it to that point, it can never do its job.
Okay. I receive it.
All right. That's my little coach.
Okay, coach.
So we're gonna close it down, but first and foremost, thank you for even gracing me with your presence, allowing me to interview you, bring you on. You have not only given valuable information, but you have given some great inspiration. You have told people things that they need to hear, not just what they want to hear. And I honestly believe those who are married and are business owners are going to benefit. Those who are not married and business owners are definitely going to benefit. And you just threw some plugs in there for yourself as far as being a fiscal architect, not just but the fiscal architect, and the person and the lady who is trying to make her mark and help other women who are not only in her realm or age group, if you will, as far as a millennial, but women who have reached a certain point where they don't know what to do and they just need to come talk to you. Slide in the DM, just say what's up. And hey, I would even say men, just slide in the DM, say what's up, man. Because you just never know how, well, put it like this. I know how much financial awareness, number one, can help you, and having somebody who has financial wherewithal help you get to a certain point, because we all want to be financially free. We say it, but are we really, really, really ready to be financially free? Now, when you're financially free, how do you not get yourself back in bondage?
Yeah, you gotta have the basics. You gotta get the basics first. Your mindset has to be right. And what has brought me to debt freedom, not financial freedom, what has brought me to debt freedom is budgeting, saving, and planning. Those are the basis. Money mindset, budgeting, saving, and planning. If you can get those and replicate those activities over and over and over, then when you have a little bit, it works. When you have a lot of it, it works. It's the same stuff over and over and over. If you can't manage what you already have, then you're going to blow through having more than that. So.
Okay. Well, give us not only the last words, if you will, but also don't forget to throw out those handles one more time so we know how to find you. I am definitely going to put it in the description and everything like that, along with a beautiful photo of yourself and all that stuff, so people know how to get in touch with Miss Vestria, the financial architect. So just give us that last word and then we'll cut it out.
All right, guys. Well, my last word that I leave you with is that everybody had to start somewhere. Nobody knows everything. If financial education is something that you are having trouble with, I encourage you to reach out. I can be reached at Hey Vestria on Instagram or Hey Vestria on Facebook. If you go on my stories, you'll probably see some entertaining something. It'll give you a chance to get to know who I am and what I'm about. If you go on my page, you'll see posts that are informative about financial education, things that you can take home, and tips, tools, and strategies that I use personally to become debt free. I encourage you to follow me. I encourage you to slide in my DM with any questions that you have. And I look forward to working with you to help you reach the money goals that you are trying to attain. I wish you peace. I wish you prosperity. And I thank you for sharing your time, Milton, and your space with me on your platform.
Wow. So y'all heard it here first, man. You know, go ahead and make sure you follow and like and all of that good stuff. But most of all, don't be shy to become a client, okay? Any business owner will tell you the biggest thing that we all want to do is to market ourselves, which is basically serving you. But we also want to make sure that we're effective in your lives. And the only way for us to do that is not just making video content, because sometimes you won't get everything out of just that 30-second or 1 minute or even 10-minute clip, if you will. But if you actually speak with us and get down deep and allow us to get our hands dirty with you, we can take you to a level that is beyond what you may even want it to go. But it's something that's going to be good for you, because every person that I know who has an actual call or who actually is meant to do this, they can see beyond just what you come to them with. So they're always able to help you. I can see Vestria is going to be able to do that with you. And I would say, make sure, man, if anything, put it like this: if you want to build a house, you don't call a doctor, right? You call an architect and you have them do their thing and build that bad boy from the ground up. All right. So get with the fiscal architect, Vestria here, and make sure that you allow her to not only help you, but to heal those finances, man. We need it, especially us.
Yes. By all means, if you are on my page, you can click the link that's in my bio and join my email list. Absolutely free, not holding you back. Just get information, tips, tools, and strategies that you can use whenever you want to stay connected with me or to learn about how you can reach your goals. So join my email list, click the link in the bio at Hey Vestria, HeyVestria. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.